Did you set a goal for 2022 of like, I'm going to make this many?
Yeah, I didn't reach my goal last year, so I doubt I'm going to reach it this year.
Yikes.
The goal is 20 episodes.
Oh,
I'm
that's
not.
attainable.
It is.
Uh.
I am not on track
That's okay.
for it. So, I mean, I think the minimum acceptable number is 10 episodes per year.
Okay. Who says who?
Me?
Okay.
Or like maybe 12 because it's like one a month. Okay, so also try to talk into the microphone.
You mean over here?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so this is something that I always tell people, and
No,
it's
I like
funny
it.
because most people aren't used to talking into microphones. But I tell them this, and then at a certain point, like 30 minutes in, they forget everything I told them,
Oh, okay.
and then they end up like doing this as they're talking to me.
You're just too personable. You just like relax people too much, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know what I'm doing."
One other important thing, 'cause it's hard to edit out, is touching stuff around you.
Nice.
And then the last thing I need is like 10 seconds of silence, so that I can filter out any ambient noises.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you have a software to do that, or do you like do it yourself?
Well, yeah, I use this software.
Oh, like is it a button press, or is it like a?
It's basically that simple.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice. Sorry, not to out you.
No, it's not like I'm doing anything super complicated. I just select the portion of the audio that I want to use as the sample, which would be that 10 seconds of silence.
Yeah.
And then I press a button that's like get the noise profile, and then I select the entire audio, and then I do filter out that noise
Yeah.
profile from that audio.
Got you.
So-
Oh, so it's like literally filtering. So like we talk about electrical noise, like when
Yeah.
we're using like electrodes and things. So it's literally filtering noise.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. It doesn't work. It's good for like the static or like the constant noise that would appear in the environment, but a lot of the times, like where I live, my refrigerator starts making a noise, and then it lasts for 30 minutes, but not the whole time. So it's not great for like those kind of things.
How'd you learn to do all this?
I don't know. Self-taught, but it's not like a complex thing to teach yourself. So
I told you I moved in. I lived here for like a week. I slept here once, and then I moved out for like 2.5 weeks. And
it's 2.5 weeks that the person was living here.
no, oh no. Sorry. So I was dog sitting for 2.5 weeks.
Oh, okay.
And the friend was only here for like a night or two, whatever. Yeah, he was just up for the weekend. But
Gotcha.
yes, things transpired.
That's still that's a long time to dog sit.
Yeah, it was tough, but like my partner was amazing about it and like super supportive, and it's like a whole house, so it was nice to be able to like spread out.
Yeah.
But it was 2 dogs and 2 cats, and like obviously I have neither of those here, and so it was like I was leaving work in the middle of the day to like drive 30 minutes back here and like walk the dogs, and then drive 30 minutes back out and like work another 6 hours and then come back, and I was just like,
wow.
ugh. But like I really believe that like you need to take care of living things around you, and like if their owners have like decided to pluck them out from wherever they were beforehand and like raise them and care for them, then like and then they hire me to look after them, then like now it is my responsibility to make sure that they like live another day.
Yeah.
And like live a good life for another day. And so like if that means like going to go walk them, like okay, I also like can make some time in my schedule, so
yeah. Sounds like you have a busy schedule though. What?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, thanks for fitting this in.
Oh, thank you for being persistent about it. I appreciated that. I was like, no.
Yeah, I always wonder how persistent I should be, because there's some people like I want to do a podcast with, but it's like I don't want to have to keep saying it over and over, so I just eventually give up and be like, all right, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I feel like at least with this, obviously the sample size is 1 here, but
Yeah.
like I feel like it was a good amount of like, hey, this sounds cool.
Yeah.
Hey, this sounds cool. And me being like, okay, I'm ready.
Cool.
And then you being like, so actually ready? Yeah, no. I think I was not like, oh, leave me alone. Like, no.
Yeah.
But it probably sucks to be on the other end of that, being like, hey.
Yeah, it's not that fun. When it goes badly. Most of the time it's fine because people actually follow through or mean what they say initially.
Yeah.
But yeah, when people are like, "Oh, I'd love to do a podcast with you," and then turns out they didn't actually mean that, I'd rather you just not say it in the first place. You know?
Do you honestly? I was wondering this when I was thinking about it. I was like, do you honestly like to talk? Like, do you honestly like listening to people and talking to people this much?
Yeah, I think so.
That's really cool. I don't think you. Sorry, I don't mean to be screaming over there.
No, it's probably better to be louder than quiet.
Oh. What do the kids say? Say less.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's alright.
There's
It's uncontrollable noises. It happens.
It's my middle name. Uncontrollable noises. What was I gonna say? Oh, like I feel like some people just do not want, like they are not that interested in another human being to like maintain, like first seek out the human being, second like seek out time to talk to said human being, and then three, like don't you edit for like hours, so you're gonna have to listen to this over and fucking
The
over.
editing is
like,
the part I enjoy less, yeah.
Nasty. Hire it out.
I mean, I would if I made any money at all.
Donate to the podcast.
Like I mean, that would be the dream, getting to a point where I make enough money where I can pay someone to do my editing for me.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure there are people that don't want to like do the talking, like they're too
Right.
like that's not in their wheelhouse, but like editing is. So that'd be awesome. If I ever run across someone like that, I'll kick them your way.
Do it. Yeah. Or I could always I thought about
Write that
this.
down. You would have to then like credit them though.
Well, yeah.
Can your ego take that? I didn't mean it like that. I just mean like, do you want to be like, look, like I do this. This is my thing. It's me and me alone and me all the way through. Ain't nobody fucking doing shit to help me with this. Because like that's really helpful. They're like, I like doing stuff like that sometimes. Being like, no.
Yeah. No, I think my ego could take that. I'd probably, put it in the description, and then I'd probably say a couple times, or at least once per episode, like, thanks to my editor, whatever your name is.
Oh, whoever you are out there.
Yeah.
Well, like, if it's not something that you enjoy doing and somebody did it for you, you probably genuinely would be thankful.
Right.
So you probably wouldn't mind. Didn't mean ego.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be a one-man project.
Okay, yeah. Good to know.
And it's not, because the podcast couldn't exist without the 22 people that I've done it with so far.
Fair enough. Wow, that was really fast math. Or do you just know that, like, okay, so-and-so has done 2, so-and-so has done 3?
There are a few people who have done 2, and like 2 people who have done 3. So
got you.
Somewhere around 20 different people.
22,
yeah, something like
I'd
that.
buy it. And like, depending on when this comes out, like that number might break. You're like, yeah, sorry, Christina, we can't release this one yet. Like, I'm gonna have to move that so I can make the number correct. Anyway.
No, it'll be number 29.
Is that a rule you like keep yourself to? That like, okay, you can't record the next one until you have the other one out? Or...
No, I just had 2 record at the same time, without putting either of them up. So I just make sure I do them in the order that I recorded them in. Like, but no, sometimes they get backed up.
You want to talk? Do you want to talk to me about that, or? I have some of my material in my car. I didn't bring it in, but.
Okay, so we should get to that. All right. Actually, why is it that I don't know your last name, or am I forgetting it?
Because it's ethnic. So it's, wait, hold on. I haven't decided.
Oh, do you want?
I don't know.
Okay, you could be first name only. You could be first and last name, or you could be no name if you really felt like
I think first name, because professionally I don't know if I want it to be like, oh yeah, and then she like swore for 2 straight fucking hours.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sorry.
That's fine.
To be diva.
All right, so.
Christina. Christina is fine. I'm Christina.
Christina.
I'm a pelvic floor PT. Do I need to like explain, like, how much should I talk?
Well, I always think it's better if the guest does more of the talking than me, even though it usually doesn't work out that way.
You're just fun to talk to.
So, yeah. Welcome to the Regular People Podcast. I'm Wade Allen.
Woo! Oh.
And today I'm joined by Christina.
All right, here we go.
Yeah,
Yes.
So, but that's a good place to start, as ever. Why don't you provide the listeners with some information on who you are, your background in life, and what you've been up to in your recent years?
Yep. So yes, thank you, Wade, for the intro. I'm Christina. I'm a pelvic floor physical therapist. Currently working in Brookfield. I am originally from Oklahoma. Honestly, now that I'm putting all this out there, it's not gonna it's not gonna be hard to piece it together. But
Yeah, you can be vague.
I could
if
be
you
vague.
Want.
That's true. I could just not overshare.
It's up to you.
Even though I ask patients to essentially just tell me their entire lives. I'm like, hi. I want to know everything. So from Oklahoma, I went to Marquette University. They have a direct admit doctor of physical therapy program. So kind of as a 18-year-old, I got a letter in the mail, and I remember it super vividly. And I had applied to the program. Obviously, they didn't just decide. Right. And it essentially said hey, you've been accepted into a direct admit accelerated doctoral degree program. And I remember just being like, what? Thanks, but what? Because
So you applied for it, but you weren't expecting to get into it?
Yes, yeah. So, because at the end of high school, and now I'm realizing that end of high school was 7 years ago for me. And I'm like, I need to stop talking about this like it was the other day.
It feels like that sometimes, though.
Yes, yeah. No, and I am ready for it to stop feeling like that, but not to be rude, nothing major, other than 2 degrees. But no other big life events have happened since I left home at the end of high school, and so it's okay, that's my biggest touchstone reference point.
Right. Yeah, time kind of shrinks in between the milestones.
Thank you for putting that into words. Yeah. Wow, so good.
But yeah, it's that difference in sometimes it feels like a long time ago, or when I put it into numbers, it's wow, high school is I graduated high school almost 10 years ago. But then it also feels or you have dreams about it sometimes. It feels like you're in high school right now.
Yeah.
So there's that difference that makes you really feel old because it feels so close, but you realize it was not.
Yeah. Yeah. We, my partner and I went back to his high school up in Appleton, to see their musical, which was phenomenal.
What was the musical?
It was Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, wow. My high school I didn't see it. They were just doing that 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
So
that's really cool. Wait, what was your high school?
Waukesha West.
Hey.
High school.
I have no affiliation with any high school in Wisconsin, but there's.
Did they splash out for the set's huge giant plant?
Yes, they did. Yep. And we actually, hold on. Every time I go visit every time I go to my partner's hometown, hometown quotes, they were a military family, and so they moved around a lot, and so yeah, he wasn't born in Appleton, but that's where
most of his childhood was.
Exactly. Well, middle school and okay. High school and stuff. So
oh, okay.
Yeah, he'll talk about Georgia and California, and he'll talk about those places, but it's Appleton is where he's yeah, I'm from Appleton. I'm okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Also, I wanted to ask, so you grew up in Oklahoma.
Yes.
You went to high school in Oklahoma too?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What made you choose Marquette? Why did?
Yeah, good question. My family's very Catholic.
Yeah.
And I have 3 older siblings, and I was kind of talking to my older brothers, and they were and my mom also, and they're honestly, they're we'd change a lot of things about the places we went, right, for school, for college. And they're but one of the things would be to just minimize the number of differences between the schooling you had before college and then the schooling you have in college. And so we all went to Catholic grade school and Catholic middle school and Catholic high school. And so then I was well, if I go to a Catholic college, then that's going to minimize the differences, right?
Yeah.
Not that Catholic education is the only good education. No, that's not true. Not at all. But I was look, if there is a place that is similar enough to my high school, but offers me more what I want to do with the rest of my life, then I think that's the next logical step. Because then I'll be in less of kind of a fight or flight, freaking out mode.
Yeah.
When I get to college. And it didn't really completely work, but it worked, right? We made it here, we're done, it's fine. But yeah. So when I was applying, because I went through a college preparatory Catholic high school. And so then when I was applying, it was well, look at the Catholic colleges. And then I saw the direct admit program, and I was look, you tell an 18-year-old, keep your act together for 6 years and you can have a doctorate and something that you, care about. I don't know, you're going to say yes.
Yeah.
So
there weren't any places like that in Oklahoma?
Not with the direct admit, and definitely not Catholic. Like, I think my high school, there was my Catholic high school, there was another Catholic high school in Tulsa. I think those may have been the only two. There may have been a couple in other places. But then, like, as far as Catholic higher education, like, the ones that they had were, like, smaller, and they didn't necessarily have a PT program, and it was kind of like, I don't know if I want to do this.
Yeah.
But then Marquette, it's like, you know, like, it's a name. It's like, you know, this big school. It's this whole thing. And like,
So it had a reputation outside of just Wisconsin?
it did, yes. Well, at least in, like, the Catholic prep high school world.
Yeah.
And it was really funny because I remember telling my, like, guidance counselor in high school and, like, telling my principal, who was, like, a long time family friend, and I was like, yeah, like, I think I'm going to go to Marquette, and I'm really kind of set on it. And I just remember them both looking at me and being like, well, yeah, we knew that. And I was like, oh, it's a whole, what? And they were like, yeah, like, we always thought you should go to Marquette. Like, that seems like such a good fit for you. And I was like, what the hell? Like, why didn't you tell me? Like, I'm glad that you knew, but, like, anyway. So
maybe they didn't want to be too commanding you, telling you what to do with your life. So you're going to do this, and then you're going to go to Marquette.
Yeah. And, like, they'd been dealing with high schoolers for the last, 30, 40 years. So, like, they probably knew that if you tell a high schooler to do something, they're going to, like, do the exact opposite. So they're probably just playing their hand.
Right.
You're right.
How early did you know you wanted to do that?
Yeah. Let's see. So I did ballet when I was 10. And, like, how do I want to phrase this? I was never the size of the other girls. Sorry, I just realized I was talking to the wall, not to the... I just wasn't the same size or the same shape, and I, like, wasn't... So as much as I loved ballet, it was like, well, you don't look like the other girls. And, like, yes, ballet is art and expression and all these beautiful, intangible things, but at the end of the day, when you're out on auditions, they are looking at you. And if you do not look the part, you're not getting the part.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like I couldn't deal with that, but I was like, I don't know if I can love something this much and, like, pin my meal ticket on it. Like, I just never, even in high school, like, I really struggled with the idea of, like, oh my gosh, I love what I do, and, like, my mortgage like hangs in the balance of, like, whether or not, like, I can love something enough to, like, make it work and make me money.
Yeah. I imagine most people that, well, I think I know most people that love ballet don't end up actually making it their job.
Right. Yeah. And, like, I mean, not to be shitty, but, like, I wasn't bad. Like, I have really tight arches, and I have very, like, I don't know how much you know about. Damn. My feet look good.
I'm not an expert in ballet, but I know some things.
Well, yeah, you've got enough friggin' ballet dancers on here. Probably just one.
But I know a few
there are
more.
others in the making. Yeah, of, like, coming on. So.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know why I'm over here making faces, but that's fine. Yeah, so, like, I wasn't bad. And, like, I was, like, tall enough, and, like, I'm flexible, and my feet look good. It was literally just the fact that, like, I have big bones, and I have a Slovak and Czech family, and, like, also my mother's Sicilian, and, like, like, I was big. And it was kind of like, so I don't look like everybody else, and I really like this, and it makes me feel good to do ballet, and I love it, but, like, if I'm not succeeding at it, then I shouldn't go pursue it as a career. Like, I shouldn't go expend all of this energy in something that I am just, like, I'm going to have to hurt myself to look that way.
Yeah.
But anyway, so how early did I know that I wanted to be a physical therapist? My freshman year of high school, I was in a dance company. I was in another dance company, and I was running cross country because my parents were like, all of our children will run cross country. Like, that is what they're going to do because it teaches discipline, and it gets you active, and it gets you to school at 6 a.m. And then, like, we drop you off at 6, and we don't have to worry about you making it on time because it's on you now. Yeah. Which, like, and, like, my school had a really strong cross-country program for a long time. And so, like, it you know, my dad would tell stories about like the guys cross country team just being like really well bonded and like there for each other and like, you know, this kind of sense of fraternity almost. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited. And like the other thing is like I suck at running. Oh my God, so bad. Gosh, sorry, Mom. And yeah, so I was like very slow, so slow. And like one day, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm saying this, whatever. One day I forgot, it's either that I forgot my contacts or I couldn't get them in right. And I didn't want to run in my glasses for some reason. And so my dad was like, well, fine, we're going to go like run bleachers and I'm going to run you through drills because like just because you can't like see adequately doesn't mean that you like shouldn't get in your like cross country workout for today.
Okay.
And so like we went and did those and so like when people are moving, they use certain muscle groups more than they use others.
Yeah.
So like I don't even like colloquially people say like quad dominant squats or like glute dominant whatever or like hamstring dominant yada yada. I am a like hip flexor low back dominant just human in whatever I do. Like seriously, it's like, oh, what's she gonna do? Use her hip flexors and her lumbar paraspinals? Anyway, sorry. Are you listening to the sound?
Yeah, what is that?
Is it a TV show? It's like vibrating the floor.
It is, yeah. Hopefully I can edit that out.
I'm
Well, okay, if there is a low rumbling noise that's almost like words that you can't quite understand happening, apologies.
Yes, yeah. Nothing bad's going on. I just live in an apartment building and
No.
it's
Same thing happens to me. This is why it'd be great
excuse me.
to be a rich person so I could have like a studio or something.
Exactly. Yeah,
But
well,
can't have that.
sadly.
Anyway, so you were running.
Yes,
doing
yeah.
the
So we
bleachers.
were running, doing the bleachers. And like, you know, my dad's like, you know, on my ass, you know, like pushing me, like making sure I do my stuff, like, you know, holding me accountable for this thing that like we've set forward to like have me do, which I'll forever be grateful for, right? And also the fact that like my dad, because we lived in a smaller town, like we lived in a small town, and then the Catholic high school was like 45 minutes away. So like every day of my life, my dad, or of high school, then like my siblings are older, so like they were in high school too. So like probably every day for the like 10, 15 years, I don't even know. I can't do math. He would wake up at, you know, whatever time he was supposed to, pack our lunches, drive 45 minutes into the city to drop us all off, and then drive 45 minutes back home, do all the stuff that my mom...
You can use whatever language you
it's mainly
want.
that I don't want my mom to be like, it's not crap that he was doing.
Oh,
It was
okay.
stuff that was important. And like it was, but like, you know, I'm sitting here looking back like 10 years and I'm like, that's crap. That's just crap. Like it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Some of it really mattered and that stuff didn't get done, of course, but like, oh my gosh, I need to stop. So anyway, the moral of the story is he would wake up, get our butts together, get us in the car, drive us to school, like, so drive 45 minutes with, you know, three or two kids in the car, because my sister's like 15 years older than me, so like by the time I was in school she was already in like college and like, you know, leading her life, doing great things. So he would drive 45 minutes, drop us off, drive 45 minutes back, do all the like home things, and then again like drive 45 minutes back out to get us, and then he would like drop my brother off at musical practice, or like he'd drop me off at ballet, or he'd go, you know, do this, and then he would like bide his time for another 2 hours and then pick us up again and then drive us back 45 minutes and then like still somehow like help with homework and have dinner and like have family bonding and then like sleep for 6, 7, 8 hours and then just do it all over again. And so like imagine all of that's going on. And like that's just daily life. That's not on top of like, oh, the cat died. Oh, my parents are dying. Like, oh, my parents-in-law are like having horrible health issues. Like all of that. And then your freaking 14-year-old is like, I don't want to run because I forgot my contacts. Like, I don't want to run in glasses. Oh my gosh. And so like, yeah. Of course you're going to be like, no, I'm going to teach you how to show up for things. Like, come on. Like, if you can't do the full thing, you're going to do the things you can the best you can.
Yeah.
So anyway, all this to say, I got a hip flexor overuse injury exacerbated by my father. So then I like couldn't do anything because I hurt so bad.
Couldn't like walk.
Yeah, like I couldn't walk, I couldn't dance, I couldn't run. Like I would walk in the halls at school and just be in this horrible pain, just like excruciating pain, like all through my hips and my low back. And like I remember just being like, look, like I'm not a good cross country runner, but I am. And so like, what do I do? And they were like, go to the trainer. Like, go see the trainer. Go see, we keep an athletic trainer and a physical therapist on staff. Like, go see them. And I was like, what? What the hell is even that? And so I went, and he, of course, was like, oh, like, rest for 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, but, like, it's nutcracker season, and I don't think you understand. Like, I need to be doing this.
You're going to try out for the nutcracker while in this pain?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think I'd already auditioned. Like, I think I already had my, like, roles. And so I was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I was. Yeah, we were rehearsing.
So you didn't want to drop out?
No, that was not an option. And he was like, okay, so give me 1 week then. And then, like, come to PT 3 times a week, and we'll, like, work on your stuff. And I was like, okay. And at that point, I was like, so physical therapy's a thing.
So it worked pretty well?
Yeah.
1 week?
Oh, my, well, no. So take 1 week off, and then I think I saw him 3 times a week for, like, 2 months,
Gotcha.
3 months. Yeah. So then I was, kind of drawing to the end of my high school career, and I was like, well, I want to dance and I love to dance, but I can't make any money off of it because I'm like, I'm not the thing. And I was like, but I really like physical therapy. Like, I think it's really cool to be able to give people back that piece of their lives. Yeah. And so then I like applied to a bunch of liberal arts colleges, and then I also applied to a bunch of like just kind of state schools, and then Marquette's physical therapy program, and I kind of like left it up to fate almost, as I was like, cool, like I'm just gonna put all these applications out there, and like if the liberal arts colleges reach out to me, then like I guess I'm meant to like be a dancer and a starving artist. And if the like sciencey like stable job people get back to me, I'll do that. So the sciencey stable job people got back to me in the form of the letter being like, hello.
So did you have really good grades in high school or something?
I did. Yeah. I was the like least intelligent of all my siblings. Yeah. Yep. I was the dumb one, and I still got Yeah. Which is like astounding, and like, like I have one brother who's like he's so wonderful, so good, and he was always like, no, like you've always been the smartest one. And I'm just looking at him and I'm like, you got like the highest freaking, like, I know they changed the way they score the SATs, but I feel like he got like a 2200 something, like a 2300 or whatever. He just like tests off the charts. Yeah. Like he is so incredibly intelligent. And so then to have him like be telling me that, I'm like, okay, you're just trying to make your little sister feel good. Like, calm down. Yeah.
Maybe. Or maybe not. No.
I don't know. Yeah. He's also like very honest when he needs to be. So, but yes. So then Marquette was like, "Heyo," and I was like, "Okay." And it didn't occur to me that like this was a thing that I like kind of forget. I did not tour Marquette's campus. Like I
just showed up.
Yeah, I was like, "Okay, cool. Like this
First
is the address.
class.
Nice." Well, no, like move-in day.
Right.
Yeah, with my like mother's tremendous help. Like she was like 2 months away from a total hip replacement and like moved me into college. Or no, 1 month away. Yeah. And so I was like, what the like you're in this horrible pain for like a really like for years, right? And like you finally got to the point of like, okay, I need my hip replaced. Like it is so bad. And then you move your child into college 900 miles away from home. Like, cool.
Was seeing that also a sort of inspiration to do physical therapy too?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. So, yeah. Yep, and through a weird, like, I think it was just a paperwork snafu, but most physical therapy majors at Marquette do, like, exercise physiology as their undergraduate degree, but I was in the wrong college.
So what did you do?
So I did sociology as my undergrad.
Oh.
Actually, yeah, so I have my honors bachelor's of arts in sociology. So I did that in 3 years along with the prerequisites for PT school.
Right.
And then my like 4th year of quote unquote undergrad was actually my first year of grad school. Because like that's the way the Marquette program does it. So you have 1 year of like overlap. But yeah, so anyway.
Were you taking the normal amount of credits during this?
I was definitely not. No. Wade. Good question. Yeah, no.
Because you're doing a doctorate in how many years?
6.
6. Okay.
6 in total.
Yeah. It's like 21 credit semesters or something.
Oh yeah, yup. And then I discovered that Marquette had dance classes, and I'm the kind of person that, like, if I have open spaces in my schedule, like,
Just fill them up.
well, no, here's the thing, like, the more free time I have, like, the lower credit numbers I take, the worse my grades are, or were. Like, the semesters that I took 18, 17 credits, like not good GPA.
So you, like, do well in the stressful conditions?
Yeah, apparently. Yes, so there was one point in time where I was, like, taking all these classes, and then I took 6 credits worth of dance class on top of it. And so then I think I was up for, like, 23 credit hours. And so I was probably taking, like, 17 credit hours of, like, wait, did I do that math right? Yes, I did. I was taking, like, 17 credits of, like, actual, like, real coursework.
Right.
And then 6 credits of dance on top of it. And so that bumped me up to 23. So I remember I had to, like, fill out all this paperwork and, like, meet with somebody. And I was like, look, it's just that it's 6 credits of dance. Like, it's just that I'm trying to fit a dance minor into. Like, don't worry. I'm okay.
How many hours a week is that of dance?
So it was only, I think it was only 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was, like, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And it was, like, one.
Was there homework
for
for dance class?
Not really, because I danced so much before.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I imagine that if I'd, like, never danced in my life, I would have to, like, practice. And, like, I did practice, but, like, it felt good. I was used to it. Like, in high school, I think I danced, like, an hour and a half, 2 hours every day after school. And so it was, like, I was used to, like, having that.
Wow. So did you get that dance major or minor?
I did not, because I didn't, like, start trying to get it early enough. And then I couldn't, like, take the dance classes I needed, like, during grad school. Like, even though the, like, 4th year is, like, you're taking grad classes, but you're still technically an undergraduate student, they were like, yeah, you can't take the dance class because, like, it overlaps with your lab for your doctorate. And I was like, oh, oops. Yeah, never mind. Maybe I'll just pass on the dance minor there.
Yeah. Did you have to take summer and winter stuff?
Only for the last 2 years of the program. No winters.
Oh, okay.
But definitely summers. Yeah, no, so I don't know. And then the short version of the story is that, like, I met a boy and I fell in love, and Milwaukee's really nice, and, like, Wisconsin's kind of great. And so I'm just kind of like, awesome, here we go.
Yeah. What year was it that you finished your program?
I finished my undergrad in 2019, and then my graduate degree in 2021. So last.
How did COVID affect your school?
Yeah. So COVID was happening, or, like, starting up right when we were headed out to, no, hold on, because it started in March of 2020. Half of my second to last semester of, like, in school classing, like, in classroom classing. Nice. I have my doctorate. I use for that classing. Anyway.
You don't have a doctorate in linguistics, so.
Thank you so much. The saving grace. Wow. Sorry. I haven't thought about that high school stuff in a long time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's like that's.
Sorry for
No.
putting you there.
No, I see patients for 60-minute sessions.
Right.
And I talk probably about 20 minutes of those, and then after that it's like guiding them through stuff, or like listening to their things, or like doing manual work. And so it's like I don't know that I talk for more than 20 minutes continuously regularly, and so I'm like, ugh. I'm like, I don't know what's happening here.
Well, I feel that too. I don't normally talk very much. So
I know that.
when I record one of these, I usually have a sore throat afterwards, just from speaking.
No. Well, you should talk to my brother and my mom. So they're musicians, like vocalists primarily. Well,
Right.
My mom does, like, church music. And my brother actually, like, yelled at me one time because he was like, "You talk with so much vocal fry, like, you're not gonna have a voice by the time you're 45." And I'm like, "Oh shit, my God, what do I do?" And he's like, "You just need to be more gentle on your vocal cords and support it more with your breath." And I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean, bro?"
Vocal fry. I've never heard
Vocal
that term
fry,
before.
yeah. So I think it's that, like, instead of, like, supporting, because, the way you make a sound is
Right.
by, like, forcing air past your vocal cords. And I think if you, like, over tighten the musculature around the vocal cords as you're pushing the sound through, it can be really stressful and strenuous on the vocal cords themselves. And so then if you're, like, doing that continuously, then you're more so relying, my brother's going to be like, I heard your podcast episode and you were wrong, so please go re-record that, or like have him paste in me actually explaining this. Essentially, if you don't use breath to support your voice, you like use your body instead of the air, and so then your body takes the hit and like you get a
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so what is the actual bulk of the learning that you do when you're getting in this doctorate program?
Yeah.
Is it like a lot of memorization of physiology kind of thing? Like, what are your classes? What's like the stuff you actually have to learn in your classes?
Yeah, good question. It starts as like chemistry, biology, physics.
Right.
So it starts as like, can you learn stuff? Like,
Yeah.
Can you be responsible for knowing like basic stuff and like regurgitate it and then like remember it? Because then that's the foundation that everything else goes on top of it. So like I really like to think about physics when I talk about muscles and like how muscles work with joints and bones in bodies. And so like if I didn't learn the physics correctly, then everything else I built on top of it would be like shoddy. Right? So it starts as that, and then you go into like gross anatomy lab, so like cadavers and like learning muscles and origins and insertion points and like innervations.
Insertion of what?
Sorry, I just thank you, good catch. Let me say that pelvic floor physical therapy is a specialization outside of regular physical therapy.
Right.
So you start in regular physical therapy school, and then you decide if you want to do the like bonus stuff. So
but yeah, so is it everybody has their own specialization, or is it like you do a physical therapy degree and then on top of that you have your specialization?
That way.
So
yeah.
not everybody like does that.
Right. Yeah. You don't have to specialize. Like like Marquette prides itself, and like physical therapists in general pride themselves on like graduating doctors with the ability to treat from like birth to death. Yeah. So like the goal when you graduate is to be able to treat anyone and anything. Just generally. Like maybe not well, but like know what to do and know what they're talking about and like know the red flags of like, okay, no, you need to go to the hospital, or like, no, this isn't a muscle thing. Like you need to go see somebody about this. And then on top, like once you've kind of got that in the last semester, you can like really specialize. And the way that they did it at Marquette is that there's pediatrics, neuro, pelvic floor. There's like an orthopedic specialty. So like if you want to treat like knees, hips, backs, dancers, like all that stuff, like you can then go learn like the more advanced orthopedic stuff. And then, oh God, what am I forgetting? There's like a sports med one, and then there's sometimes they do like a pediatric sports med, and there's acute care. So that's like in the hospital. You can like specialize in that, which is super interesting. And then they were thinking about doing like a business one. Like they were thinking about like having people like more so focus on the business side of physical therapy, like if you want to open your own practice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which I thought was really interesting, and I was like, nah, dog. Like, give me like 10 years, and then maybe I'll think about it. But like, no. I think I got all of them. I'm like forgetting one. Oh my God.
You can come back to it if you remember. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think I got them all. Anyway, essentially, not all schools have like electives at the end.
Oh, okay.
And like a lot of some of the stuff you can do as like continuing education and like do classes after you finish your degree and then like do the specialty. So like I had to do classes or a class after school, after school. I had to do class after graduation to like be pelvic floor certified.
Oh, okay. What made you want to do the pelvic floor specialization?
Yes. So with the sociology undergrad, instead of the exercise physiology undergraduate, I was like at a really big disadvantage when we got to the like kinesiology and like gross anatomy stuff, because like my classmates that did exercise physiology instead of doing the like non-PT undergrad, they already had all of that anatomy. So, like, they'd already had it before. Oh, no, give me hiccups. Oh, you poor thing.
It happens a lot.
Oh. Used to happen to my roommate a lot. She would get, like, stress hiccups.
Yeah, that's
Am I
the
stressing
hypothesis.
you out?
No, I don't think so.
It's okay if I am. It's fine. It's not good, but it's fine.
Normally, I get hiccups when I'm at work,
Ooh.
but
That
not
looks
much
very
elsewhere.
stressful. Oh, yeah. So I was at a like huge disadvantage because they had already like learned all of the muscles and like palpated, so like touched it on each other. I like the bicep muscle. You know, they
Yeah.
weren't like going in there and like feeling each other's coccygiuses. They weren't like, oh, like no, like it's all on the up and up, and like it's worthy of, you know, time and care and importance and all of that. But yeah, so I roll up to freaking gross lab, like gross anatomy lab, and like I maybe had anatomy for like I took it with the nursing students, and like the anatomy that nurses need to know is very different from the anatomy that physical therapists need to know. Just because like nursing has so many other things they need to be worrying about. They don't need to be worrying about like, oh yeah, what's the innervation of the quadricep muscle? Like no, like we need to worry about that, not you guys. You have so many other things to be doing. But anyway, so I rolled up to this gross anatomy lab and I was like, oh my god, what? And then I was also working 2 jobs, 3 jobs,
3?
maybe 3. I can't. Well, like, so here's the thing. Like my first year of grad school, I was an RA, which like, it's a job, but like it's also not a job. Like it's just kind of coming home to your 70 kids. Like it's not. And it's like another meeting you put in there, and it's like you take some duty shifts on the weekends, and like you have 1 or 2 nights of like weekly duty where you're on until like 2 a.m. But like, so then on top of that, I had like a couple other jobs. So like I was an RA, and then I like did the music lab, like I was a librarian for the choir at Marquette, and then I also was like a barista. So like I worked in the coffee shops there, and like it's just what you did. So
wow.
Yeah, so it was a surprise to literally no one. I really struggled in my first few like graduate PT school classes. Because I didn't understand that, like, unlike sociology where like you learn the concepts, you like read the material, and like if you get it, you get it, and if you don't, you don't. With physical therapy, school, at least I always felt like the more time I spent on it, the more I understood it. But like I did not feel that way about sociology. Like if I didn't understand a concept in soc, there was no amount of time that I could put into it and like understand it. So it was like, well, I'm just not going to get that one, and I'm going to get all of the other ones, and it'll be okay, and I'll kind of come around to that one eventually, I guess. But like the idea of sitting down and like really like pondering sociological concepts was not something that my brain could do. It was like, okay, I get it, move on.
Okay.
And if it didn't get it, I kind of gave up. And I was like, that's a little rude. But it like popped up in other classes, so then I usually got it during that one, like kind of caught it on the other time around. But with that, this is all to say, with PT school, it really truly was like the amount of time you put in is the like quality of stuff you get out. And that's very rewarding. That's so nice. Because like my first I'm just gonna say it because I failed my first anatomy test. I got a 40. A 40. Yeah. And I went to my professor's office and I was like, what? And she was like, you need to figure out your stuff. Like, she was like, go make an Excel sheet and like figure out if you can kind of save your grade. She's like, and if you can't, like, I'd suggest, you know, dropping out and taking it another year. And I was like, oh my. And I actually went to my advisor's office after that, of course. Dr. Don Newman, who like literally wrote the textbook on kinesiology. He's the best. He's so good. And his wife was a pelvic floor therapist, so we're the best. For real though, like he's just like one of those minds that's like so incredibly smart. And like a lot of my classmates would be like, oh my gosh, he like says the same thing 3 different ways, but he says the same thing 3 times, just 3 different ways. And I'm like, yeah, he says the same thing 3 different ways so we can understand it. Right. Like, I'm sorry, he's actually teaching. Anyway, so no, he's like so good. And like there are very few books that I'm like, I need this book in my life. But like his book, like every moment of my life, I can always like, it's right there. Like I know where that fucker is because that shit's the bomb. Anyway. And like everything I have, well, not everything, but like most things I have, I owe to like that man and that book and like that knowledge. Wow. Which is like so wild to be like, hello. Like, so anyway, oh yeah, so I failed. And like that was horrible. Like I don't I don't fail things.
So how'd you do on the second test?
I think with the curve, I got like an 80 or like an 85.
And you ended up passing the class?
Oh yeah, I passed. I think I got like a B- or a C+ or something.
Oh.
Like I passed, but I was like, yikes! Like we can't let this happen again. So then it was at that point that like my advisor, he was honestly really. I remember him saying to me, like you've proven that you can make it this far. Like you've proven for 3 straight years that you can do the stuff. Like you can put in the work, make the grades, do the stuff. He's like, so you just need to keep doing it. He's like, you deserve to be here. I think that was the thing. I think I had a lot of like imposter syndrome, probably because I didn't have the same undergraduate, but also because I knew what my grades were. Like they were not good because I was, hundreds of miles away from home and doing way too fucking much. And
yeah. Did you have access to like a comparison to see where you stood in terms of the other classmates?
Yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. What platform do you guys use for like grades and stuff at UW?
Canvas.
Okay, we used D2L.
Okay.
It's short for Desire to Learn. I can guarantee you that like maybe 10% of the time I logged into D2L did I actually have a desire to learn. Like I was just like, fuck this. What the hell? Yeah, so sometimes exam grades would always get posted there. But sometimes they would show like the metrics for the class. But I think the thing is that like most of our exams were curved. And so to me, like I always kind of thought that the way that curves go is that like they take the highest grade and then they like add however many points they need to make that like 100. So like if the highest grade was a 95, there would be a 5-point curve for everyone. Like that's how I was taught curves work. Maybe that's not how they work.
I don't know. I might not know either. I was always under the impression that teachers just do it like idiosyncratically. Like there's no one system for curving grades.
Oh my god! So you think they just like, well, there's this Wade Allen person like, fuck.
Well, I mean, not like per student, but like per teacher. Like each teacher has their own like way they curve the grade.
That's probably it.
That might not be wrong. That's probably right. The way my math teacher speaks, it sounds like he's going his own way. So, I don't know.
Mathematicians are just. Ooh.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy.
Yeah?
Yeah, he goes off on these tangents sometimes about like math history that nobody else is interested in except for me. It feels like.
Do you think that you're interested in it because like not to out you, because like you're older than all your classmates? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, like think back to when you were like 22.
Right. That's why I didn't go to college right after high school. Is because
yes, snaps.
I wasn't in that mindset.
Yeah, I think that like asking 18-year-olds to then like sign on for hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt just for like this stuff that they don't give 2 fucks about, like no. But also like don't just dick around.
Right. Well, that's why I'm so impressed by what you did. Like you just went to it and succeeded.
Thanks.
Got a doctorate degree like immediately out of high school.
I'm one of those people that if I don't like do it right then, it like is probably not gonna get done. So like I love Oklahoma a lot and like I miss it a lot and I just miss it so much. But like end of high school, Christina knew that like if she didn't leave then, she never would. Like if I went to college in Oklahoma, like I would have found someone that I was, happy enough with, and we would have gotten married and I would have popped out 6 kids and I would have like had a great life. Like I would have loved that and I would have been so happy with it. But like I always feel like, the quote where it's like I stand on the shoulders of giants, or like I am where I am because I stand on that's how I feel about like my parents and my grandparents. And like my dad went to 1 semester of college and like he was in a horrible car accident. And like for my parents to then say like, okay, kind of looks like you got the sauce for a fucking doctorate, chickadee. So I was like, okay, cool, here we go. And like, I'm going to work as much as I can. I'm going to take on as many loans as I can so that you guys can retire whenever you want. You don't have to worry about me. Like, it's okay. Like, I don't need any money. We're good.
Yeah.
Come to find out my mother is a workaholic and like she plans on never retiring. And I'm like, well, I could have relaxed. Anyway. Yeah. So, like, if I didn't leave Oklahoma when I did, I never would have.
Yeah.
If I didn't, like, just do all the school in one fell swoop, I probably wouldn't have done it. So I actually admire people that go back. Because, like, I do not think I have that in me.
Is 6 children the amount you want?
Why is that what you latch onto it? I'm trying to, like, compliment you and, like, affirm you. You're like, wow, that's really fucking cool that you were like, look, I, as a 20-something-year-old, like, could not, like, handle college. And I don't want to waste everyone's time and my money. So...
No, I'm in much more of a college mindset now. Because in high school, I actually failed
Wait.
2 math classes.
Nice.
And now
Good.
I'm like, math is my whole college
Heck
experience,
yeah!
basically.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I would not have paid attention to my current classes if I went when I was 18. Also, I didn't know what I wanted to go for. I didn't...
That's, yeah.
Yeah. There's all these reasons I didn't want to go.
And I think that, like, my high school, like, it was a college prep high school. Like, there was no two ways about it. But I think that, like, my parents always said, like, college isn't for everybody. And, like, graduate school isn't for everybody. Like, there is honor and merit and just as much fucking, like, kudos to vocation, you know, like, to technical schools, like, to, you know, like, I have classmates that, like, went on, like, graduated high school, and then they were like, no, if I just go to college, I'm gonna dick around. So, like, why don't I just dick around and not have to pay for it?
Yeah.
And then go and, like, become a plumber, you know? And, like, he was making, like, a bunch of money, and I was just, like, getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper in student loan debt. And so it's like, you know, I think we need to realize that not everybody has to go to college. And I don't mean to say that to be like, yeah, go ahead and just lie around and, like, mooch off of other people. Like, no, like, you still need to, like, figure your place in the world and do that, but it's not necessarily at a 4-year institution.
Yeah.
Like, the fuck? Anyway.
Especially with the cost of college these days. If everyone did go to college, it'd be way more debt.
Yeah, one of my friends is going back to school for her master's. So, like, again, major fucking kudos. Like, she finished school, she got married, like, they're living life, and she's like, I need to go back to school because I need another degree for what I want to do with my life. And, like, she is in, like, you know, mental health wise, like, she is in so much of a better place for school right now, and, like, she's just flourishing. Like, she's just thriving. Like, she has higher grades. Well, I don't actually know her grades, but, like, it seems like school is going so much better for her now than, like, it ever was. But then cost-wise, she's getting it done at, I believe it's actually UWM. Yeah, it's UWM. She's doing her master's at UWM, and her entire master's degree is going to be less expensive than one semester at Marquette. And, like, that's fucking disgusting. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
That is disgusting.
Does that mean you have a lot of debt?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. My all 3 of my siblings have higher degrees. My sister's a PA, my brother's an attorney, and my other brother has his master's from Johns Hopkins. And so, like, when I was getting scared about student loan debt, because, like, I took all the debt on so that my parents wouldn't have to be sacrificing for me, because, like, I feel like as the youngest child, what? Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I have 3 brothers.
Yes, you're the, wait, you're the oldest.
I'm a middle child.
Fuck!
I got 2
Of
older
course
brothers
you are.
and 1 younger.
Oof. Interesting that you call yourself the middle of 4.
Well, there's 2 middles.
Do you think that
I guess.
do you think the number 2 birth order person is also a middle vibe, or?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay, he was... So my younger brother is 9 years younger than me.
Okay.
So my next oldest brother for 9 years was the middle child, and I was the youngest.
Oh,
And then we kind of...
got you. Yeah. So you're like a youngest with middle overtones, or do you think it's the other way around?
The other way around, I think.
Okay. Do you think you're a middle with youngest overtones? Wait, fuck. I just said the same thing.
No,
didn't
you
I?
said it right.
Oh, I
think.
said it right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you. Oh yeah. Well, like, you literally just said you were a middle. So yes. Yeah. Because I think that my third. No. Because it's girl, boy, boy, girl, and so the younger boy, so the one right above me, he's third. So he's your birth order essentially. He's a youngest, but with, like, middle chronological. He's not a middle with middle. Fuck me.
Yeah, I think I know what you're saying.
Yeah, he's the inverse like, if you asked him, like, hey, like, pick oldest, middle, or youngest, what do you associate with? He'd say youngest.
Yeah.
And it feels like you would say middle.
He excludes you. He's like,
oh, no,
Christina
no.
doesn't exist. I'm the youngest.
No, that's what my sister did to my brother for a long time. To like the oldest girl, to like the brother, because she was like an only child for 6 years.
Yeah.
And he came along and ruined the whole fucking thing for her. And so she was like, she always said, she's like, yeah, I was the youngest child for 6 years. Those were the 6 best years of my life. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you literally have 2 beautiful children, an engineer husband. Like, you're killing it. Like, you have all your shit together. And you say that those are your best 6 years? Like, damn, mom and dad, you killed it. Like, all right. Yes. Wow.
Okay, so I still have the question. Why the pelvic floor specific?
Oh, I thought you were gonna ask about babies again.
Oh, I have that too.
It's kind of tied into pelvic floor. Okay, so why pelvic floor? 2-fold, 3-fold, 3-fold. Well, let's do all 3. Why not?
How many folds there are? Let's just do them all.
It's a freaking accordion over here. There are all these folds. So sociology undergrad.
Mm-hmm.
So negative. I didn't have the anatomy and like hard science background that all of my peers did, but I was being compared against them in the testing, right? And obviously I was falling short sometimes, and then I was fucking knocking it out of the park. Because like my last practical exam of graduate school, like, those professors that will never give 100% no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, you will never, like, they always find, like, and like will explicitly say that. That was the lady I had, and I literally got a 99. Like, so I failed my first exam, and I like had the highest grade on the last exam. And like, I will never write like an inspirational whatever. But like, how people say like, what would you say to, past you? Or like, what would you say to your younger self? And like, they're always like, oh, it's going to be okay. But like, literally, like, I was like in my RA dorm room, like sobbing, like didn't know what to do with my life. Like thought about just packing my bags and leaving. And then to like absolutely crush it. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, so
what a roller coaster.
Yeah. I do like roller coasters, so.
Me too.
I'm sorry. Is this a Six Flags journey that's gonna happen?
Oh, I hope so.
Oh, yes.
I haven't been there in like 10 years.
Yeah, neither. Well, I've never been to the Gurney one, but I've been to like Texas.
Oh, okay.
Even though Texas sucks. So.
Texas sucks, or the Texas Six Flags sucks?
No, just Texas in general sucks. Yes, I love that. I was like whispering it, and you were like, so. Yes, yeah. So with a Soc undergrad, I had more soft skills than most or any of my peers did, because I literally, like, my capstone project for my Soc degree was like interviewing people about like how dance changed their lives. So like I had all of these like fluffy skills and like not a lot of the like hard sciencey ones.
Okay.
Because fluffy skills make the world go round, and everyone can suck off if they don't think that that's true, because I think it's true. I was like, okay, so what the fuck am I gonna do? Because I cannot just like regurgitate information like all my classmates can, but I can like build rapport in seconds. Like, not to but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, anyway, it's just something that like, and like I'm Southern, so like I can do that. Like,
right.
It's just something I do. And pelvic floor physical therapy, as you can imagine, takes a lot of like immediate rapport building and like a lot of compassion and a lot of just, we're going to sit with this and that's okay. And like acceptance and not judgmental anything. Because like there are things that my patients tell me that like I'm the first person that's heard that.
Okay, can you provide the listeners with an explanation of what pelvic floor physical therapy is? And maybe, like you just said, could you perhaps come up with an example of what somebody might say, like, that they've never told anyone except for you as their physical therapist?
Yeah, for sure. So a pelvic floor physical therapist specializes in bowel, bladder, and sexual function. So the base of your torso, so like if you're sitting, you can kind of feel your butt bones underneath you. Between those two butt bones are muscles, right? And so like the base of our support is muscle. Muscle connected to bones via tendons, and then bones to bones via ligaments, obviously. So the bowel, bladder, and sexual function of our bodies, yes, it's like brain stuff, right? Like, yeah, it's neuro, but it's also muscular. And so like I specialize in the pelvic girdle musculature, and everything surrounding that. So I deal with a lot of urinary incontinence, fecal incontinence, postpartum, antepartum, peripartum, so like babies,
What's
Pregos.
antepartum and peripartum?
Peri's during and ante is before, or ante's before and peri's during. One of the two.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, so essentially like, oh, I want to get pregnant and like we can't even have sex because like it hurts so bad. Or like I can't like, I can't stand insertion long enough to like have that. Or like a lot of people come because like they can't tolerate pelvic exams. So like they can't handle a speculum being inserted into them and then like widened to like take the scrapings of cervical tissue. And so they come to me to work on that, to like be able to release and relax and like learn their body and connect with their body in that way.
Does that mean you do work with gynecologists at all? I
do. Yep. Gynecologists, urogynecologists, obstetricians, all that. It's really great. And the company I work for, they actually like set aside a time every month for the pelvic floor physical therapist to like talk to the urogynecologist. And like, cause we share all our patients, like obviously like, that's the other thing. In the state of Wisconsin, you can see your physical therapist like direct, like you can just go straight to your PT. Because like, oh, like I ran a marathon and my hip hurts. Let me just go see my PT.
That's not a thing elsewhere?
No. Physical therapy used to require a MD referral or a DO referral, like a doctor's referral.
Right.
But then when they bumped the degree to a doctorate, they were like, well, if you're literally the doctor, why do we need somebody to see a doctor to then go see you, the doctor? Like,
do you know when they bumped the degree to a doctorate?
I think it was kind of 2015, 2014.
And what does that mean? Does that mean if you got a physical therapy degree before that time, you are now just a doctor? Or is it like you just kind of sucks for you? You don't have the doctorate degree because it wasn't made into that before then. And you have to go to more schooling if you want to become that?
Yes. Well, yes and no. So they were like grandfathered in as far as being able to practice. Right. So like there are like, I think a couple of my clinical instructors had their masters. They didn't have their doctorate, but like they've been in the clinic for 45 years. So like obviously they know more than I do. So you're like grandfathered in and you're like still allowed to practice, but you don't get like bumped up to the title of doctor. Or you can go to like just a couple, like I don't know how long the program is, but I couldn't imagine it's more than a year to then take take some exams and like get your doctorate. And then so it's like it's either like, okay, you can keep your same like letters behind your name and you can just keep doing your thing. That's fine. Like when we certified you and that's fine. Like we stand by your decision there. Or you can go to like a little bit of extra school, take a couple exams, and then you can have the doctorate for like, because they already put in most of the work. They just need like the few little extra things.
Yeah. What are the letters behind your name?
DPT. DPT. Doctor of Physical Therapy.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So a lot of work with urogynecologists, a lot of work with obstetricians. I actually get a lot of referrals straight from like primary care providers, which is wonderful. Yeah. So that makes me happy.
So then, people come in if they're trying to have babies or having problems with that, having problems in their sex life, having problems with their urination and shitting.
Shitting. You could just say bowels.
Bowels. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I also do a lot of like pelvic pain. So sometimes people just hurt in the pelvis and they come see me.
If somebody was having like kidney stones, would that be in your department or no?
No, because that's that's solved by medicine. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so there isn't like a physical therapy treatment for that kind of thing?
For kidney stones? Yeah. No. Like maybe like if you like had kidney stones and like you passed them and you're still having a lot of pain, then like, I'd see you. But like if you're actively having a kidney stone and you're having a lot of pain, then like I'm not the person you want. Like you want someone, because physical therapists can't, at least in the US, can't prescribe medication. We can prescribe exercise, which I think is kind of funny. I'm like, I can prescribe exercise. like thanks, Jane Fonda, good job. Like, but we went to a lot of school to like know what exercises to do for what and how many times to do it and how often to do it and which way to do it. So like, yes, it's a legitimate prescription, but it's just kind of funny to like giggle at. Yeah. So. And
then you do these exercises with the patients?
I do. I do
show them how to do it.
So I model it a couple times, and then I usually like, and this one that's kind of up to like the therapist that you have. I find that like coming to grips with the fact that like you have a pelvic floor issue can be really hard, and then like you go and like see your doctor about it, and then your doctor says you have to go see somebody else, and then you go see that person. That would be me. You go see that person, and then they say like, okay, yeah, this is what's wrong with you, and this is what you have to do. Like, okay, yeah, that's all well and good, but like, how much better would it be if like they are there with you?
Right.
Like, they are there on the mat table, like doing the stuff, like they're doing the stretches with you, like they're doing the breathing, they're doing the strengthening, like they're talking you through every single step of the way. Like, that's therapeutic intervention. Like, that's using the degree.
Do you work with all ages?
I do. There's a
even babies?
There's a well, no, sadly.
Yeah, I guess they can't really report problems.
Yeah. There's a specialization within the pelvic floor therapy world to do pediatric pelvic floor therapy.
Is there also a specialization for like geriatric?
There's actually not. I think there. Well, that's the. Oh my gosh, yes. Wait. So there's not a separate specialization for geriatric pelvic floor, but there's a specialization in physical therapy for geriatric physical.
That's the one.
Hell yeah, go geriatric physical therapy. They're the best. They're honestly so good. They're wonderful.
I imagine that's a crowd that needs a lot of that.
Yeah, I had a rotation to a skilled nursing facility, and like the skills that I used there are very different than the skills I use now. And so like I think that's the thing. So like you graduate PT school like knowing all this stuff. And it's like, okay, so what of this entire arsenal am I gonna need? Like which ones am I gonna whip out regularly? Yeah. And so then you kind of like having the specialization helps you like hone which ones you're gonna want to need. So like if your elbow was hurting, yes, I could treat you. But like I can name at least 4 people that I would, strongly suggest that you see besides me for your elbow. Just like they could say like, yeah, you're having some tailbone pain, I can treat you, but like Christina's gonna be the better one for you to see, actually. Yeah. I will say that like normal physical therapists don't do internal examinations, but pelvic floor specialized physical therapists do. So like if your physical therapist tries to do internal examination on you and they're not your pelvic floor therapist, it's a problem.
So this is the insertion points.
No, that's not the insertion. I meant the insertion points of muscles. Do I need to get a book and show you? Oh my god. No, like where muscles end, essentially. Oh my god, that was good. Good one. Good tying it all together. Yeah, so I became a pelvic floor PT, or got interested in pelvic floor physical therapy because I was like, I have all these soft skills. Let me put them to use.
And that's all the realms of physical therapy. That's probably where it's the most needed, you think?
I would think like it's important in all of them, obviously.
That's like the most sensitive subjects.
Exactly. Yeah, like it's the most like all of my classmates were wonderful, right? Like cannot speak highly enough of the people I graduated with. But there are some of them that if I had a personal private issue, I wouldn't in a million years tell them something was wrong. Mm-hmm. Like even if I was hurting, there are some of my classmates that I wouldn't tell because they just wouldn't. I don't know. They wouldn't like react appropriately. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I'd be like, oh,
So do you think 2 traits that are basically a requirement of a physical therapist would be like being empathetic and being extroverted?
No. Empathetic, yes.
Not extroverted.
Not extroverted. No.
Okay.
And I think the thing is that like
or like people person.
It might be a little bit better if you're a people person because like you do work with people every single day. But there are a lot of physical therapists who are like I have a couple of coworkers who very no nonsense, very just like, no, like if you don't do that, you're not going to hurt. Or like, if you don't do that, you're going to keep hurting yourself. Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. Like, I would never be that person because I just like, no, like I would never say that to somebody. Like patients will come in and they'll be like, I didn't do my exercise. And I'm like, okay, you showed up today. Like you walked in my office. Hell yeah. Like, let's get to work. But no, I don't inherently think that like extroverts have it easier in physical therapy. Okay. I think that like if you are an introvert and your physical therapist is an extrovert, that's going to be a really tough patient to practitioner dynamic.
Okay.
So it's helpful to have all kinds of kinds.
Right, so you can find one that matches.
Mm-hmm.
How many times a week do you normally meet with any given, like the same patient?
Once.
Oh, just once per week.
Yeah. Well, my pelvic floor patients. So the other thing I like about my position at this current clinic is that since I am a generalist, like I do have my generalist like stuff, right? I can treat anything. And so I think we tried to settle on like 25% general orthopedics and 75% pelvic floor. And that's what we generally kind of try to keep it to. But things like ebb and flow, like some patients finish faster than others. And sorry, that's really inappropriate. I think the real gist of this is that, yes, I have my doctorate. Yes, I'm a pelvic floor physical therapist. Yes, I realize the gravity of what I'm doing. But also, I'm a 25-year-old female, and like, I'm gonna giggle at shit. Like, and I think that's the other thing is that, like, if I rolled up to physical therapy because I was like, hey, yo, I can't have sex, it hurts like hell, and it was some like, oh man, I don't want to say this. Like, it was something that I couldn't connect to, or I didn't feel like heard or understood by, like, I would leave. I would stop coming. Yeah. Because, like, it's not helping. They don't connect with me. They don't give a shit about me. And so it's like, for a while, I tried to, like, put on my physical therapy, like, persona. Right. To go do my physical therapy job. And then I was like, hold on. Let me just see if I can, like, be myself and people still get better. Yeah. And they do. And so then that became a lot less taxing. Like, instead of having to, like, put on this whole persona for work, like, I could just show up to work. And, like, that was really cool.
Yeah. I'm sure it helps to have a sense of humor about these things. Because, like, if somebody's feeling awkward or uncomfortable with what they have to tell you, like, relieving the tension by making a joke or something, that in my mind, that would help. Yeah. Maybe not for all people, but.
Right. I also think it's really important to be just direct about things. Because people are like, oh, my gosh, like, I pee my pants every time I sneeze. And I'm like, how many times? Like, we talking every single sneeze? Are we talking 50% of sneezes? Like, is it, like, drops of urine? Is it entire spurts? Do you lose your whole bladder? Like, because I need to know. Like, I want to know. I want to know what the current situation is and, like, where we need to go.
I'm curious, how do you solve that particular problem?
Depends. Sorry. So I left.
That was a perfect joke.
So all throughout PT school, if we ever asked a professor, like, hey, like, would you suggest squats or single leg, like, heel rises for this patient? They would say, well, it depends. Yes. And so when you said, how do you solve that problem? I was like, it depends. No, I don't solve the problem by giving people depends. That's not solving the problem. Urinary leakage can happen for a myriad of reasons, obviously. But muscularly, muscles can be too loose or they can be too tight. So, if you think of your pelvic floor muscles, like, what? Are you still just giggling about that? Yeah. Good. If you think about your pelvic floor like a fist, and you make a fist. Okay. If I then told you to make more of a fist, yeah. But if I said, okay, open your hand all the way and now make a fist, like, that is a much more useful fist than, like, the fist to more of a fist to more of a fist. So, like, if your pelvic floor is, like, way too active, like, way too tight, like, it's way too fisty. No. If it's way too active, then if you, like, cough, laugh, sneeze, jump, whatever, and, like, you increase the pressure above those muscles and you have, like, urine in your bladder, then, like, those muscles can't turn on more to hold back the urine. And so then what I need to teach people to do is to release and relax their pelvic floor. Now, sometimes people just don't have the muscular support down there anymore. You know, like, maybe they're old. Maybe they over-rely on other structures to, like, get things done. Maybe they had babies. Maybe they're tired. Maybe they, have all these things. And so at that point, it's just, like, pure strengthening. And it's like, yeah, you just need to make that muscle stronger. It's like any other muscle in your body.
Does having babies weaken your pelvic muscles?
It doesn't weaken it. It just puts different loads on it. So, like, you walk around for 9 months with a bowling ball on top of these muscles. Yeah. And then we do, like, really shit education in the U.S. as far as, like, how to birth babies. And so we like, tell people to do what's called, like, pelvic floor PTs do not tell you to do this. In a traditional hospital setting, they will tell you to do, like, purple pushing, where you, like, hold your breath and you just, like, to get the baby out, right? But, like, if you're trying to push something through a fist, sorry, I keep using fist analogies. If you're trying to push something through it and you're going, chances are your muscles are going like this, they're tightening on, and you're just trying to use your air and intra-abdominal pressure to overcome those muscles. But if we taught people to release their pelvic floor, right, open those muscles at the base of the pelvis, and then use the transversus abdominis to then like squeeze the baby out while you keep the pelvic floor open, that's going to be way better on your muscles. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so essentially pregnancy is rough on pelvic floors because you're carrying all this stuff on top of it day in, day out, all right? Like you're carrying a baby on top of it day in, day out. And then when it comes time to push the baby out, nobody really teaches you how to do it well. They just say like push, 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 push. Yeah. And so like you're holding this muscle tight while it's like if you were holding your arm closed like in a bicep curl and I was trying to like straighten your arm out. Right. Like that's going to hurt your bicep. Like you're going to hurt your muscles. So yeah, no, pregnancy doesn't inherently hurt your muscles or like weaken them, but the tax it puts on them is like tough.
So if you have patients that you're helping through their pregnancy, mm-hmm. would these people have a physical therapist and a doula and like a primary care physician and like how much overlap is there between you and like something like a doula?
Yeah,
I think that's is a doula or midwife the one who's like guiding you through the whole process of being pregnant?
Now that's where I'm actually uncertain too.
Because imagine whatever they do, some of it is probably about physical body.
I would say midwife would be more like guiding you through it, but like doulas are there for like the emotional support side of things, okay. Like to be there for you, to like be helping you, because everybody's going to be trying to help baby, right? Yeah. But like very few people are going to be helping. I'm pointing at you like you're going to birth children. Good job, Wade. I'm like you. Yeah. So no, I'm not certain which would be more in that category. I would think midwife, but that's kind of a guess. I haven't researched it, so I'm not sure. So physical therapist comes in to help the pregnant woman like learn her muscles. So, yeah. Well, first to assess if her muscles are too tight or if they're too loose, right? Like to assess like where her muscles are at. They can also be like too uncoordinated. Like some people just don't know how to use their pelvic floor. And like that's okay. We're not taught how to. Yeah. Everyone just kind of assumes that you know. And it's like
run your body properly.
Yeah, and it's like not necessarily, bro. Like it's okay. But yeah, no. So PT for a pregnant woman, that's what we're talking about. Assessing whether the muscles are weak or they're over tight or they're overstretched or they're like missing some piece, and then teaching the patient how to use these muscles, so like how to use it to their advantage. So like in my mind, the best physical therapist is the one that you like see for a couple months and then you never see again. Like not to bash chiropractors, but like I've heard that there are a lot of chiropractors out there who will be like, okay, I'll adjust you this week and then I'll see you next week and every week for the rest of your life. Like as a physical therapist, that shocks me to my core. I'm like, no, that's not care. That's not empowering people. That's not like giving people the tools.
Right. You're supposed to be teaching people how to use their own body.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
Once they learn that, they don't need you anymore.
Exactly. Or like I'll say like, okay, like I've taught you the things that you need to know and you're doing really well. You're progressing super well. Here's my number. Yep. Like my work number, obviously. Like here's my number. Call me if you have questions or if things pop up. And then sometimes like new stuff comes up and they need to come back. So like I have a patient who I saw before her prolapse surgery, and she was having I also see I also see like bladder and rectal and uterine prolapse. I forgot to say that too. Okay. She saw me before her prolapse surgery, and then I like was looking at my schedule and I like, because I discharged her because she was doing great. I was like, awesome, like all this stuff, like you're ready, like here you go. And then I saw her again on my schedule and I'm like, I wonder what it is now. And so it could be that like, now she's having bowel issues, or like now she's having a lot of pelvic pain, or like, oh my gosh, my low back is terrible now. And like a lot of low back pain can be tied to pelvic floor stuff. So yeah. So like I would say like for a pregnant patient, like a pelvic floor physical therapist is like key, because like nobody else is going to teach you your body like that. Like nobody else knows how, just flat out. So
in the case of pregnant women, do most of them come to you just because they're pregnant or because they have a problem?
I would say it's usually like in the US, like the way that our model is that if there's a problem and they're pregnant. Yeah. I've heard in other countries that it's like just kind of, it is, part of the protocol to like go see a pelvic floor PT. And like that would be amazing. Like I would love it if there were some of my patients that I'm like, yeah, we're just kind of checking in and making sure that like you have the tools. Like this is preventative medicine. Like an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? Definitely believe that, but like that's not the system we're in, which is like horrible. But I know that like if I were to be pregnant, like I would reach out to my colleagues. You know what I'm saying? Like I know the stuff, like I know what to do to myself, but there are like things that there are things that I might need done that I can't do to myself.
Yeah, that's how you get pregnant.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Do you, or could you like locate in your mind, is there a thing that's the most common reason that people come to you, or like the most common problem you have to help people solve?
Yeah. So the coursework for pelvic floor physical therapy starts with urinary incontinence and dyspareunia, like pain with intercourse, and prolapse, and then it moves into like bowel incontinence and pelvic pain generalized, and then it moves into like people with penises. And so I am still in my like first level because I like just finished school and like just finished like level 1 and all that stuff. And so I see a lot of urinary incontinence. Like I see a ton, like most of my patients are like urinary leakage, and I think that's because of I know it's because of the like decision tree there we go that my company uses.
Right.
So like if I were treating just everyone with a pelvic floor,
it wouldn't be that.
It would not. No, it
it's
might
a selection bias kind of that's forming.
Yes, because like I haven't done my bowel course yet. Like I can teach general concepts about like constipation, and like I know how to do rectal exams, and like I can do that. Like it's within my scope to do that, but it's like I'm not the bowel specialist at my program.
So does this mean you still have more schooling that you need, or is that a course that would be in your workplace?
It's a course, and it wouldn't necessarily be in my workplace, but it's like a continuing education course. Like so, it's
would
like
you get paid for it as part of your job, or no?
Certain companies will pay for continuing education. The one that I work for does not, and that is something on the list of things to look for in the next job down the line.
Speaking of your job, though, so getting that basically direct to the workplace, fast track doctorate.
Yeah.
Does Marquette have an agreement with certain physical therapy places or hospitals, or is it like a Marquette run institution? Like,
oh, are you talking about like for my schooling, or like for my
like
clinicals?
where you work? Like because you went to school and then you're right away when you graduated you had a job, and then so is it some sort of agreement with the school and that workplace that they just send the kids right there or the adults right there?
That'd be great. No, it's not. It's not. So this is kind of looping back to when you asked about like what does PT school look like? Like it starts with the basic shit and all that, and then you like learn bodies and all of that, and then you like actually go out on clinicals and you like have another physical therapist who like mentors you.
Right. Like, is it like a residency for
kind
nursing?
Yeah. It's yes. That is what I'll say. I don't know a ton about nursing residencies, but I will say, in that like the clinical instructors there like every single day with you and like is with you all the time until like they see fit for you to see people by yourself.
Okay.
And then you see people by yourself eventually. Like, some of the clinicals, that's your goal to get to. And so then like yes, when I finished PT school, like I had never like treated a patient quote unquote by myself.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily true. Like my clinical instructor was always like with pelvic floor, like she was always in the room just as like a, safety thing. Yeah. And then like in my like workers' comp one, like my clinical instructor was like, yeah, she was in the room, but she like wasn't paying attention. She was like across the gym because like I was a student and I had proved to her that like I knew what was going on and like I knew my stuff. And so like I could do the treatment and everything. So like first day on the job, I was like really intimidated. I was like, oh my God, it's my first day. Like it's the first time I've ever done this. And it's like, no, it's not the first time you've ever done this. Like you've done this so many times and you've done it with somebody else there so many times. And so now it's just you're doing it without somebody there. But no, Marquette doesn't have, at least not that I know of, doesn't have any like agreements with people around.
So you still had to like apply at various jobs.
I did. Yeah. I actually only applied to one job. The job I have now. Yeah, my instructor who like taught the pelvic floor elective course at Marquette let us know that there was a job opening, and she was like, I'd love to see any of you in this position. And like I like things with my partner they weren't super solid, but they were like solid enough. And I was like, you know what? Like, even if I'm just there for a couple of years, like it's a good job and it's in an area that I know. So like, here we go. And so like I applied and like got it, obviously. But like I wouldn't have known about it if it wasn't for her. And I'm sure like, you know, she was like, list me on your thing, you know, like when you do that. But like,
Yeah. Do you have any idea of how big of a population the physical therapy students were in your school? Like, is that a large group of the Marquette students?
No, we were like a class of 70-ish. It kind of fluctuates year to year. And then I think Marquette has like 12,000 students. I think that's including like grad students. But like we were grad students. So like, yeah, like it's the physical therapy school at Marquette is like pretty big just because like they churn out 70 doctors a year.
Yeah.
But it's like not even as big as the nursing school.
Right.
Or like it's definitely not as big as the engineering school.
I feel like there's always, like, we never have enough nurses. There's so many people going into nursing, and it's just like, we need more.
Yeah.
Is there a similar feeling with, like, physical therapists? Like, there's not enough of them?
I think it depends on the setting you're in. So, like, outpatient physical therapist, so just, like if you got injured at work and you, like, went to an outpatient workers' comp physical therapist, like, there are a lot of those out there. But if you were, like, in the ICU at the hospital, like, there aren't... Depends on where you are, obviously, but like I would say that probably has a higher demand than like because it's just a higher specialized thing. Just like there aren't as many pelvic floor PTs because it's a higher specialization. Like it requires a little bit more. But yeah, no. So I wouldn't say that like one, it depends on like geography and stuff. But like the way I'm looking at it now, like yeah, we always have a couple of positions open in the therapy department, but like I think the only place that was like hurting for people was the hospital.
Yeah.
And then they were kind of hurting for one in the pelvic floor world, but then, like, they hired me, and then they hired another girl after me, too. So, like, we have enough.
Don't you have 2 jobs?
Yes. So I... Don't you have 2 jobs? Shut the fuck up. I had 3 for a hot minute, and it was... Yeah. No, so I used to work at a vegan cafe.
Yeah.
Is veganism still ixnayed on talking about on the podcast?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Cool.
The reason is because I feel like I was getting talked about a lot. But,
you shut the fuck up, you vegans. Just quiet.
No, any topic is open.
Okay. Well, obviously, we just...
If that's something you're interested in talking about.
No, I'm definitely not interested in talking about it, but, like, I was like, oh, do I need to, like, not say
Oh,
this?
no, you can say the V word.
Oh. Oh, sorry. I just cracked my neck. Felt nice. Don't tell any of my PT friends that I did that.
Is it bad to do?
It's not bad to do. It's just like the reason I do it is because I have excessive mobility, and so like the cavitation, like the pop, like feels good, but like I don't need like you only want popping and like cracking and like thrust manipulations when you're lacking mobility. And so if people have the mobility, it's like contraindicated to do like something that's going to give them more mobility. So like I have too much of it, and my like bones just feel better if I like move them to their end range and then even farther than their end range. But like for the health of the joint, it's not great.
Oh, okay. So it is bad in some sense to crack your
sometimes
knuckles, knees.
It depends on like, okay, are you already taking this thing? Like an elbow is only supposed to like extend to 0 degrees.
Right.
Well, and technically it's 0 to -5, but whatever. And so like if you're at -10 and then you like crack it into -20, like you've taken this joint that's only supposed to go like, and you've just like shoved it farther. But people will tell you, they're like, oh, it just feels so good. And it's like, well, yeah, but that's because you've conditioned your body to think it feels good.
I had a friend growing up who could clasp his hands behind his back and then lift them over his head, like, all the way back to his lap without disconnecting them.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a lot of shoulder mobility. How's he doing?
I don't know. And then also when I was young, I still do, but I cracked my knees all the time, and my mom, or my knuckles and stuff, my mom would always try to tell me, I didn't believe her, and I still don't, that that's going to give me arthritis.
See, I remember, like, when we were like 10 or something, like, someone, like, published a really prominent, like, research article essentially disproving that. They're like, it's not going to give you arthritis, but, like, it's also not great to take your joints and yeet them to the end of, like, yoink, like, damn, boy. Constantly. Yeah. So, I mean, like, everything in moderation, right? Like, Twinkies are good, but only every once in a while. You can't have Twinkies all day.
Do you like Twinkies?
I actually haven't had a Twinkie in probably 20 years.
I haven't had one in a long time either, so I could be wrong, but I think Twinkies are actually vegan. So you could have one if you really felt. I mean, I don't even know if you're
We're gonna
vegan,
need
but
to,
I could
yeah,
have
we're gonna
one.
need to, yeah, we're gonna need to go get Twinkies now then.
Not that I want one. I never really liked Twinkies.
Well, I think I liked the whole idea behind it, like Twinkies and like the hand pies and like
Oh, the hand pies! I ate those
snowballs.
too often as a young lad.
Young lad.
Zingers, basically
Oh,
Twinkers with frosting
Zingers
on
are
top.
so
That's
good.
what I liked.
The Twinkers. Twinkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get that packet of Twinkers.
Okay.
Anyway.
So we talked about physical therapy for a long time, and
Oops.
basically the entire time.
Shit. Whoops.
Do you want to talk about one of these other topics for 10 minutes?
For 10 minutes. I probably shouldn't do that, but my ear hurts a lot.
Oh, what was the thing you wrote down?
Oh, I literally just wrote that I need to find you an editor who doesn't want to like do the
Oh,
interviews.
that's what you wrote. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's a to-do list for myself. I'm trying to get better about ooh. I was about to say like never mind, I'm not gonna say that. I'm trying to get better about like just having, you know, how we talked about like if I don't do things right away, it's not gonna get done.
Right.
Like I'm trying to get better about like just doing it eventually. And like, you know, just planting that seed in my brain. And like if somebody I run into is like, oh my gosh, I love sound editing, but like, talking to a bunch of fucking people, I'll be like, do I have the number for you?
Well, that'll be a very lucky conversation to come up about sound editing. So one thing that I wrote down on the list is pathfinding in your 20s.
Oh,
as
yeah.
the short final topic that we can discuss.
Oh my God.
So what did you mean when you
What'd you
sent
think
that
I
idea to me?
meant? I think I just meant that like the past few months, like I've been adjusting to like finally having one career job. Oh, so I do have two jobs, but
Right.
it's a PT in two places, but it's for the same company.
Oh, okay.
So it's like I work 40 hours a week as an outpatient physical therapist, and I'm like pelvic floor specialization, and then for like 16ish hours on like Friday, Saturday, I work inpatient, like in the hospital.
If it's for the same company, do those 16 hours count as overtime?
They sometimes do, but we it's company policy that if our patient doesn't show up,
Right.
we have to clock out. So like this week I did not get overtime even though I worked two jobs. But I don't have to like cash out my PTO, but I have my fucking doctorate. So what the fuck? Anyway, sorry. I get like mad about it a lot.
So are you expected to clock out and just sit there, or do you
Yep.
go do something else until your next
I mean,
appointment?
you don't have to sit there, but like you have to clock out.
Yeah.
Like it there are like stores and stuff nearby, so like you can clock out, and like sometimes I'll do my grocery shopping, but I'm like I don't want to do my grocery shopping. Like I want to work my 40 hours a week job. So yeah, so like that's really distressing. And so like the holidays I had no PTO to use because like I had to keep cashing it out to like have a consistent paycheck. And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So yes, but like, you know, I screamed about it for like 3 months, and my partner was like, okay, so are you gonna quit, or are we just gonna put this on a list of like things for the next job? And kind of I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna quit. Like I love what I do. Like I adore it. And so it's just on the list for the next job. So pathfinding in your 20s. So now that I knock on wood, fingers crossed, my family's like Sicilian and Irish, and so like no jinxing anything ever.
Sicilian and Irish?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of loud people. Lots of good food. Now that I have like a consistent job, yes, my fingers are crossed. Now that I have a consistent job, and I'm not like I just go to work and I do my job and I come back, and I go to work the next day and I do my job and I come back. I'm not like freaking the fuck out about like all of that, and so I can kind of devote my attention to other things. And it's kind of like, well, what do I want those other things to be? Like, what am I supposed to do in this world? And like, I think I'm lucky enough to have a job that is also my vocation. Like, I feel called to do my job, but I also feel called to be married. Like, I also feel called to eventually raise children. And I think so oh my gosh, there was a joke in my dance company, so this is like me back in like high school, that I was going to have 26 children and name them alphabetically, that way I wouldn't lose track of them. So 26 letters in the alphabet. So
I actually sometimes have to re-sing the alphabet. Well, not sometimes, like maybe once a week I have to sing the alphabet.
Once a week.
Because I don't know like the order of letters without singing it. So
See,
I would lose track of my children if I did that.
Okay, well, don't do that then. Figure out. Do you want kids?
You know, thinking I'm more inclined towards the yes side of the spectrum,
Okay.
but not like with certainty.
Okay. And like that's a fair
So,
place to be.
I mean, probably should make that decision in the next 10 years.
I mean, like, I don't know, like, make the decision before it's made for you,
Yeah.
kind of. But also, like, oh, you'll figure it out.
Yeah. So you feel a calling to get married, have kids.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else on that list?
Like, be a good daughter. Like, take care of my family as much as I can. Like, we're all kind of spread out because we all kind of went where the scholarship money was.
Yeah.
Like, I think the other thing about, like, oh yeah, Marquette's great, and like, oh yeah, Christina, you're doing so well. Like, my 3 older siblings all got full rides to college. Like, I'm the only one who like had to pay for my undergrad, and like, that just like blows such fucking. It's terrible. Like, it's a horrible feeling. Like, I felt like such a shitty child for so many years because I like didn't get a full ride to college.
Maybe your siblings should pay for your college debt.
Well, so here's the thing. I didn't get my driver's license until I was like 22, 23. Like, I almost had my doctorate before I had my driver's license.
Oh.
And when it came time to like get a car, usually what happened in our family, and I feel like this is true for most families, so it's not like, oh, we're special, but like, usually I feel like whoever's the new driver just kind of gets whatever car is like about to be replaced, and like whoever's the like superior driver gets the like new car, like, so like people would take like my siblings would like take my mom's car, because like my mom drove a lot for work. Like, she used to commute 45 minutes like both ways, and like was raising 4 kids, and like was a church musician, so she definitely worked like 15-hour days.
Yeah.
16-hour day, and like it was normal. Gee, I wonder why I always have to have 2 or 3 jobs.
Do your other siblings do the same thing? Overwork themselves?
Yes, yeah, we do. I think my sister has the strongest boundaries. Well, had, because my brother I think my brother now trumps her because he was an attorney, and he like busted his fucking ass and like made bank and put it away, and now he's an author and like gonna be a full-time, well, not full-time because he's gonna be an author too, but he's gonna be a stay-at-home dad for this like new baby that they're welcoming into the world. Yeah, so he was like, look, like, I am not called to be a attorney. He's like, fuck that, no. And he's like, but I am called to make an ass ton of money, to put it away, and then like do what I actually want with my life.
Yeah.
But I feel like my sister has the healthiest like work-life balance, like, or just she has the like strongest like if she's on call, then yeah, she's like keyed into work. But if she's not on call, she's like, maybe I'll answer a voice to text kind of situation, because I am the, she's a PA, so like she's the, like, she has patience, like she's the head on, like people need her like emergently. But then like my other brother does like music and dance and like all of that, and like, I don't know, I feel like when you do things that are so close to the things you love, like it's really tough to draw the line.
Yeah, definitely.
As you spend 5 hours on your Saturday or on your Sunday just trying to get this damn podcast done. Yeah. So then when I was going to get my license and like get a car, I was like, look, not to be a bitch or anything, but like, I'm about to like literally graduate with my doctorate and like be ready for my career. Like, can we please maybe divert some like cash to a car that I can have for the rest of my life? Like, can I please have one that will meet my needs? And my parents were like, like, that's got a price tag, honeybee. Like, come on. They've never called me honeybee in my whole life. I don't know why the fuck I just said that. Ugh. But no, like that was kind of the way it was said, of like, like, no, come on. But my siblings stepped up. And they were like, look, like, we didn't have car payments because, like, we always just took the family car and it was, like, in a good condition. But, like, my brother, like, put up a significant chunk of, like, my car that I drive now. And, like, I'm going to drive till the end of my fucking life because it's amazing. And he literally told me, he was like, part of it's a gift and part of it's a 0 interest loan. And he's like, I know all the loans you have, but, like, so here's what I'll say. Yes, my siblings all got full rides. They realize how amazing that is and like how that put them forward in the world, and they are more than happy to like reach like down the ladder and like help me up to the next rung. You know what I'm saying? Like oh, I'm all the way up here. Like let me just put my hand down and like help my sister up.
Yeah.
So
That's nice.
yeah, it's really nice. I get the feeling that are your siblings like that too, or no, or
No.
okay. Sorry.
Yeah. No. I
Are they nearby?
yeah, we all for the most part
Excuse me.
live close by. One of my brothers lives sometimes in California, sometimes in New York.
Wow.
But my other brothers live in Waukesha,
Hmm.
which is, for those of you listening elsewhere, like 30 minutes drive.
Down the fucking road.
Yeah.
I hate driving to work. Oh my.
Oh, you work? Yeah.
But it's horrible. No, I just like hate driving to work in general.
Oh.
Like even when I lived in Tosa and worked in Tosa, I was like, this is terrible. Fuck this. I hate driving.
Well, I think you should get paid for your commute because
Yeah,
it's
wow.
just a waste of your day.
Like it. I like that. Nice. Yes.
I like driving, but yeah, the time it takes to drive to and from work, yeah, feels like a waste of my life.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't. Oh, yes. Nailed it. Exactly. So pathfinding in your 20s. Essentially, like, since I kind of got the career portion of it figured out, like the minute I graduated, my brain was like, okay, now you're supposed to get engaged. Come on. And like, like I think I'd only been dating Will for, had it been a year?
And you wanted to get engaged?
Well, like we had known each other for so long, and
Oh,
like
yeah.
oh man, am I gonna do it? I'm gonna make this appointment. You know what? Whatever. From like, not the minute I met him, but like from very early on, I know he's supposed to be in my life. Like I know he's supposed to be there forever, and like I'm pretty fucking certain. I'm very certain that it's like supposed to be as my like partner and like as my husband, but like.
Maybe it's as your volleyball coach.
What the fuck? The man could not coach volleyball. That's your fault. No, but there's just like, did you ever read Anne of Green Gables?
No, I haven't.
She talks about like kindred spirits and like bosom friends, and like first off, it sounds fucking weird as hell.
Bosom friends,
yeah. But like that's how the minute I met Will, that's how it felt. Like it felt like I'd known him my entire life, and it felt so familiar and good, and I just, like, I know it's supposed to happen, but, like, I don't know when, and I don't know how, and I don't know, like, there are so many things that, like, point to it not supposed to be happening, and so it's very, like, confusing, and so I had to like slow my roll and realize like, okay, and like honestly, like Will called me on my shit. He was like, you're not loving me as me. Like you're loving me because I'm your boyfriend. Like you're loving me because I'm your partner. Like you're just kind of, he was like, you need to not use me to fill an agenda. And like that, yeah, and like that, first off, it hurt. Like first off, it hurts so bad because like I thought that I was loving him, you know, the best I could in the way he needed and all of that, but like it really wasn't. Like I was focusing too much on like, we need to get engaged, we need to get married, we need to have babies, we need to settle down, like we need to do this stuff, da 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 da. And it's like, hold on, like what does Will need? What do Will and Christina need? So that's been a fun place to be, of like just loving your partner instead of just doing the next thing with them.
Yeah, that's good. I'm not a fan of the milestone like thinking, because it's a fast track towards death. Because you're like, okay, gonna get engaged, gonna get married, gonna have kids, and then 18 years later, gonna watch my kids graduate.
Yep.
Gonna get retired, gonna die.
Right. Yeah. Yep. No, I totally agree. And I think that like I have a couple of patients who've straight up told me, they're like, yeah, like I did the thing, like I did all the steps. And like, and you know what happened after like we got married and we had the kids? I looked back and I thought, what the fuck? Like, yeah. I don't like, and she's like, and then we got divorced. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't want to get divorced.
That is becoming more and more like one of the steps.
Yeah, which is like,
Well, we could talk for much longer, I'm sure, but I'm aware that I'm eating up your time, and there's a
is there
upper limit.
Fair. Are there things that you wanted to say that I like blathered on over?
No, not really. I just had a lot of questions, and I think I asked all the ones that I remember thinking of.
Good. You made an insertion joke twice
Twice, yeah.
with the pelvic floor
I was
PT
very
on
fixated on that.
You might need to talk to someone. Not me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. As a last parting note,
Yes.
are you a reader at all?
I am.
Do you have any book you're currently reading, or perhaps just a general recommendation for the listener?
Yeah. So I'm actually currently reading Body in the Moonlight by Catherine Hall Page.
Is that a fiction?
Yes. Yeah, she it's a murder mystery. And she also includes like, oh god, this is so whatever. She also includes like recipes. So like she's a caterer, but she also solves mysteries. And so like she includes recipes at the end of the book as to like the stuff that she like uses to like get people to talk to her more. Like she's like, oh yes, I made my famous cinnamon rolls and then headed over to and then like the cinnamon roll recipes in the back of the book.
That's interesting.
Yeah, isn't it? And so like when I was in middle school, I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. Like I'm gonna read those when I grow up. And I've grown up and I'm reading them and they're great. The other thing that I am currently, well, I guess I just finished it. It's called Redeeming Love. Totally just a work of fiction. A little bit too much of like a spiritual overtone. Like, you know when things are Christian and they're like just too
Yeah, they hammer
weirdly
it
Christian?
over the head a little bit too hard.
Yeah, where you're like, this isn't a plot other than like Christianity in all caps, which like not like Christianity is good, right? Like
It's like when you
not
read
bad, but like,
Chronicles of Narnia and you're like, it's just a rehashing of the Bible.
yes. But it was the first book that I read for pleasure after finishing my doctorate, like finishing my degree.
Yeah.
And so like I think it'll always gotta have a place in my heart there. And then it also like helped debrief a few other things. Two other reasons to be a pelvic floor therapist. One, Southern women do not talk about bodily functions, and then they just suffer in silence, and that is not okay. That is not okay. And so like I can't stand the fact of like thinking about the women I love in my life and the men I love in my life, and like they cannot live like that. Like no, like you need someone you can talk to about that. And then two, trauma survivors benefit from pelvic floor PT greatly.
Oh,
and
yeah,
so
I didn't
like
think about that aspect.
Yeah, and so it's like there is like if like once things have processed and like once they've gotten the help for like the immediate need and like they want to return to sexual activities, like that can be a horrible journey. And like to be the person that's there for them and like helping them through that and like supporting them through that is like, anyway, so yeah, that's the threefold.
Yeah, that's interesting because then you'd want to have a psychological therapist and a physical therapist.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for doing this
Woo!
episode.
Hopefully there's something in there.
Oh no, I enjoyed it. My only worry is the audio of some person playing something very loud. But we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, sorry.
And thank you for listening.